I have studied, been to Asia, discussed with people there. I have tried to penetrate beyond the superficiality of religions into something I feel in my bones, though I am not a logical man, something profoundly mysterious and sacred. And yet, I don't seem to apprehend it. Can you help me? I have studied, been to Asia, and discussed with people there. It all depends with whom you have discussed. I have tried to penetrate beyond the superficialities of religion into something I feel in my bones, though I'm a logical man, something profoundly mysterious and sacred, and yet I don't seem to apprehend it. Can you help me? Shall we go on with this question? You're not tired? One wonders why you go to Asia at all, except for trade. Perhaps people who go there for religious purposes are also trading. You give me something, I'll give you something. One questions, why go to the East at all? Is truth there, not here? Is truth to be found through people, through a guru, through a path, through a system, through a prophet, through a savior? Or truth has no path? There's a marvelous story in India of a boy who leaves home in search of truth. He goes to various teachers, to various parts of that country, walking endlessly. Every teacher asserting something or other. And after many years, as an old man, he comes back to his house after searching, asking, meditating, taking certain postures, breathing rightly, going, fasting, no sex, all that. At the end of time, he comes home to his old house. As he opens the door, there it is. The truth is just there. You understand? You might say, it wouldn't have been there if he had not wandered all over the place. That's a cunning remark. But you miss the beauty of that story if you don't see that truth is not to be sought after. Truth is not something to be attained, to be experienced, to be held. It is there for those who can see. But as most of us are everlastingly seeking moving from one fad to another fad, from one excitement to another excitement, sacrificing, all the absurdities that go on, we think that time will help us to come to this. Time will not. So the question is, I'm a logical man. Something profoundly mysterious and sacred I feel exists. I cannot apprehend it. I can understand it. I can logically see it. But I cannot have it in my heart, in my mind, in my eyes, in my smile. The question says, help me. If one may point out something, don't ask for help from anybody. Right? Because the whole history of man is in you. The whole travail, the mystery, if there is a mystery, is everything man has struggled, sought, found, denied, illusion. All that is part of your consciousness. When you are asking for help, forgive me if I point this out most respectfully, not cynically. If you ask for help, you're asking something from outside, from another. How do you know the other has that quality of truth? Unless you have it, you will never know it, whether he has it or not. So first thing is, please, I'm saying this with great affection, care. Please don't ask for help. Then if you do, the priests, the gurus, the interpreters, all of them pour on you. And you are smothered. Whereas if you look at the problem is this. Man, throughout the ages, has sought something sacred, something that is not corrupted by time, by slow time, by all the travails of thought. He sought it, longed for it, sacrificed, tortured himself physically, fasted for weeks. And he has not found it. So somebody comes along that says, I'll show it to you, I'll help you. Then you are lost. Whereas, if you say, is there something sacred? Mystery only exists because it's mysterious. But if you uncover it, it's no longer a mystery. Truth isn't a mystery. It's something far beyond all concept of mystery. So, is it possible for a man, listen to the question first, for a man who has studied a great deal, various aspects of religion, of the East and the West, accumulated a great deal of knowledge, both in the scientific world, the left and the right, the Marx and the etc., etc., read all that. There are lots of people. who have read that. And their brains are crowded. We used to know an author, and he used to say to me, that I know all the Asiatic religious thought, the Christians' thought, the cloud of the unknowing, the various mystics of Europe. And so my brain is full of other people's knowledge. And can I ever experience something totally original? You understand? The cry of such a human being. The cry of such a human being who is desperately wanting something, not wanting, seeing something, this is not enough. And then what do? They take to drugs, hoping to experience that something original. It is not a chemical product that is going to produce that originality. So, what is one to do? What am I to do? I'm asking as though an outsider. I'm asking, what am I to do? Knowing I'm a serious man. I have humor, I can laugh, I can shed tears, but I'm a serious man. And I've superficially inquire into all the aspects of religion. And I recognize their superficiality. Therefore, I've discarded them. Whether the superficiality of the gurus, the churches, the temples, the mosques, all the preachers in the world. Because I've seen, if I see one actual state of religious aspect of superficiality, I've seen the whole lot of it. So I don't have to go through them all. So what am I to do? Is there anything to be done? Who is the doer and what is it that is being done? You follow this? Please follow this step by step if you are interested in it. If you can discard all your superficiality with your garlands, pictures, all that nonsense. If you can discard all that and stand alone, because one has to be alone. The word alone means all one. Solitude is one thing, all alone is one. You understand? Solitude has in it the quality of loneliness. You can walk alone in the forest and be alone. Or you can walk in the forest feeling that you are in solitude. That feeling is totally different from the feeling you are alone. Now what am I to do? I have meditated. I've followed different systems, slightly. And I recognize their superficiality. I must tell you another story, if you don't mind. We were speaking in Bombay, enormous crowd and so on. And the next day a man came to see me, see the speaker. He was an old man, white-haired, white beard. He told me the following story. He was one of the important judges in India, an avocat, a judge, highly placed, family, children, respected, all that stuff. And one morning he said to himself, I pass judgment over others, criminals, swindlers, robbers, business robbers, political robbers, and so on. I pass judgment, but I don't know what truth is. So how can I pass judgment if I don't know what truth is? This man who came to see me, to see the speaker, was telling this. And so he withdrew. That's one of the old traditions in India, highly regarded, respected. He withdrew from his family, went into the forest to meditate. It is the tradition in India still that when a man renounces the world, he must be clothed, respected, fed, wherever he wanders in India. It is not an organized society of monks. He's alone. So we withdraw into a forest, and he said, for 25 years he's meditated. And after hearing the speaker the other evening, he said, I've come to see you. I've come to say how deeply I've hypnotized myself. You understand? How in this hypnosis I've deceived myself. For a man who has meditated for 25 years, to acknowledge that he has deceived himself, you understand the nature of a human being that says that? Not just these neo-monks. So, what am I who have a certain amount of leisure, serious, not following anybody? Because if you follow anybody, that's the end of it. Please see all this I'm saying. That's the end of your, for your penetration into that which is eternal. You have to be completely alike to yourself. Not depend on anybody. Their initiations, their garlands, nobody. Otherwise you cannot be alike to yourself. So, I am. I have realized I must be like to myself. I don't follow. I don't do any worship, any ritual. And yet, that which is eternal is eluding me. I mean, it is not in my breath, in my eyes, in my heart. So what am I to do? First of all, Can the brain be free of the center which is me? You understand me? Can my brain be free of myself, the self? Whether that self is super self, ultra super, is still the self. Is there total dissipation of selfishness, to put it very simply? Selfishness, the self-center, is very cunning. It can think it is escaped from all selfishness, from all concern about its own entity, its own becoming, and yet very subtly, deeply is putting out a tentacle. You understand all this? So one has to discover for oneself whether there can be complete and total freedom from all selfishness, which is all self-centered activity. Right? That is meditation. To find out a way of living in this world without being selfish, self-centered, egotistic activity, egocentric movement. If there is a shadow of that, a movement of that, then you are lost. So one has to be tremendously aware of every movement of thought. That's very easy. Don't complicate it. When you are angry, for the moment you do not know, there is just that feeling. But when you examine it, you can observe the arising of it, right? The arising of greed, the arising of envy, the arising of ambition, aggression. As it arises, to watch it. Not at the end of it. You know? As it is arising, as you watch it, it withers away. You understand? So you can be aware. So the brain can be aware of the rising of a thought. The awareness of rising of thought is attention. Not to smother it, destroy it, put it away, but just the feeling that is, don't you know, the feeling of hunger when it arises? Obviously you do. Or your sexual feeling, or any kind, as it arises, to be completely aware. So, the awareness, the attention of the movement of the me, my desire, my ambition, my egotistic pursuit. When one is aware, as it arises, it withers away. That is absolutely necessary. So that there is not a particle less shadow of this me. because the me is separative. I went into all that. So that's the first thing I have to understand. Not control of my body, special breathing, yoga, all those. You wash your hands of all those. Then, to have a brain that's not partial, right? You understand? That's not acting partially, but whole. I do not know if we have gone into this. I was talking so long. I must be brief. We pointed out the other day that we are functioning not with all our senses, but only partially. The partiality, the narrowness emphasizes the self. Of course, I'm not going to go into it in detail. You can see it for yourself. But when you observe the mountain, the trees, the rivers, the blue sky, the person whom you love or whatever it is, with all your senses, there is no self. There is no me that is feeling all of it. So that means a brain that is not functioning as a dentist, as a scholar, as a laborer, as a super astronomer, but functioning the whole of your brain, which means that can only take place when the brain is completely quiet. So, no shadow of self and absolute silence of the mind, quietness. Not, I would like to use the word emptiness. That gives a wrong meaning. Most people's brains are empty anyhow. But to have a brain that is not occupied with anything, including God, meditation, with nothing. Only then the brain is silent, full of vitality, and that brain has a great sense of love, compassion, which is intelligent.